Yeah, congratulations to Texas Tech. I know they've been out here in Utah for a while. They were the more hungry team from the jump. And, they got us out of our rhythm early. Very uncharacteristic, unconnected basketball team on our part for that entire first half. And part of it is I think I'll shoulder some of that blame because we worked so much against their press, and I think we let that affect us, and we're so focused on breaking the press as opposed to attacking on offense once we got into the half court. So that's on me, and we definitely need to get ready for our next opponent, and we're going to see more of it. And the good thing about this league is every week you're going to have another or two opportunities to get back on track and get a good quality win. The Big 12 is a gauntlet, and there are no nights off. And we got to come ready to play, whether we're at home, on the road, it doesn't matter. Again, the hungrier team won today, and a credit to Texas Tech.
Gavin, first thing, how's LA?
From what I understand that I just was told, it could be a stinger. She'll probably be in concussion protocol, so we'll see. Any type of those head injuries, you want to be very cautious. So we'll check follow-up tomorrow, and we hope for the best because we're going to need her.
Reese, you were obviously frustrated out there for probably many reasons. Just kind of walk us through the emotions of, what that game was like and just kind of the frustrations that it was.
Like you said, it felt disconnected, and I think it's difficult knowing what you're capable of doing as a team. And so when you go out there and it's not going exactly how you want it to go, it can cause emotions and frustrations. But, a lot of it comes from passion. We're so hungry, and our team cares so much about each other and, as a team in general. And I think most of the emotions just come from our potential and knowing what we're capable of. So not everything goes to plan all the time. And I think that's most of the time where emotions come from, is just getting out of the groove of Utah basketball.
Gavin, the last two home games, you've faced some of the top three-point defensive teams. When you face those teams, what does that do for your team that generally makes a lot of these teams?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you got to, give them credit. I thought some of our threes early in the game were good threes. Unfortunately, with our team this year, our three-point field goal making dictates our intensity on defense. Should not be the case, but it doesn't matter what I want. That's as a matter of fact, that's what it is. So we've got to kind of allow those shots maybe to be a little bit more on balance. Know when they're coming and where they're coming from with the actions that we run. But again, when you're disconnected offensively, you tend to rush threes. You tend to, am I open? Oh, pass up threes. And so that's where I feel like that was the biggest hurdle for us, was just kind of finding our rhythm, which never really occurred till probably too late in the game at that point. So we got to just, sometimes too, it's the moment. I feel our kids want this win. They wanted the Baylor game. They wanted this game because they're ranked teams. They're ahead of us. What a great win this would be. But sometimes you play with that pressure, and making shots sometimes becomes a little harder to do. It's already hard enough, but we're a good three-point shooting team, so we've got to get through that pressure or playing tight. And that's something that we've got to talk about, discuss, and put that in the past.
Reese, when shots aren't falling early in a game, it seems like at times it kind of dictates how things go for you guys. How do you kind of, from your perspective on the court, and then Gavin, from your perspective as a coach, how do you kind of, try and let, those past shots, they matter, but they really don't when it comes to the next time the ball gets in the hand, you have another opportunity?
Like you said, you find what you focus on. So I think that was our biggest thing, is we're used to hitting multiple threes a game. That's Utah basketball inside out, and the hole just becomes smaller, I think, when you start to miss. But one thing we need to do is figure out how to switch our mindset a lot quicker and realize there's still an opportunity to get stops on the defensive end, because a lot of the times, as much as people don't realize, our defense creates our offense. We play so well when we're getting stops on defense, and that's how we've been able to be close with these ranked teams, because we're all getting stops on the defensive end. So I just think taking pride in that and understanding offense comes from our defense.
Yeah, and I think, we keep track, we call them kills, but that's like 3 defensive stops in a row. And in games that we've won, we get 6 or more. And tonight, I don't think we had any. So there's your answer. It's like, well, we let our offense, or our inability to score on offense, really dictate to us what we're doing on the defensive end. And that shouldn't happen, but I think, with a young team, a lot of kids who haven't been in the Big 12, they're going to have to quickly learn, like, you've got to get to the next play. You got to max out your intensity and focus on every possession. And then things will start to happen and go in your favor when you're the first to lose balls, when you're boxing out and rebounding. That's the first game in a long time that we've been out rebounded. Like, that's the formula that's worked for us, and we got away from that today. So, but again, that's a credit to Texas Tech, and again, they were the more hungry team.
Gavin, you were emphasizing a ton in the game to get up the court, obviously to break the press. Was there anything just simply to not get trapped, or was it you wanted to get into your half-court offense quicker, or what was it?
Yeah, I wanted whoever, like, they're all Division I basketball players. They all work with their trainers. They all do ball handling skills. Like, I wanted them to get the ball in bounds and go. Like, go. You should be able to beat somebody one-on-one up the court, and you have the skill set to stop. Now let's get into our offense. And for whatever reason, again, that probably is going to fall on my shoulders because we emphasize it so much for the last 2 days. So, again, sometimes you find what you focus on, and we're so focused on breaking full court pressure, well, I think maybe we might have spooked ourselves. And that's something that, great, now we know we're capable of handling the pressure, and we're going to find out against West Virginia because another relentless defensive team is coming to town. And so we've got to do a lot of growing up in the next 48 hours.
After the Baylor game, you guys bounced back versus Houston. It seems like you guys have these trends where after, a not so great performance, you guys tend to bounce back in a big way the next week. How do you think with such the quick turnaround you guys have going back on Tuesday, how quick do you guys flush this one and just, get back into the gym and start preparing for the next game to hopefully bounce back?
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be watching film. We'll be talking, again, trying to put this behind us and learn from it, and then we move on. And that's always kind of how win, lose, it doesn't matter. Like 1-0, that's our mentality. So now we're 0-1, great. Next one, now we're going to try to win the day tomorrow, whether that's in film with our strength and conditioning coach, and then we have 1 day game prep, and we're going to give it our all, and we're going to try to win that day. And then hopefully we are ready to roll come tip-off against West Virginia.
Coach, who is Snuda Collins?
Oh, we played her in the Bahamas when she was at Ole Miss. And she is a very good player. She started there, I believe. She comes off the bench for Texas Tech. But I remember my scouting report from Ole Miss. She was a shooter. And they run a lot of things for her to isolate. And she got into a rhythm tonight. And part of, I think, the growing up process is identifying in-game adjustments. When somebody's hit 2 or 3, we've got to make those adjustments on the fly. You can't wait till media timeout or halftime for us to make adjustments. And we didn't do a good job doing that in the rhythm of the game. And, we got to do better in that regard.
Did you alternate to defensive players on her?
No, but the scheme in terms of how we were defending on-ball screens, and then there were some misassignments going under screens when we should have been going over. A couple when she just lifted and we got caught watching the ball instead of locking in on our man. Things. We are always going to play probably not a perfect game. In this case, she made us pay for not being perfect. And a credit to her, man. We got open shots. We didn't hit them. She went 6 for 7. Tip your hat to her. Awesome. Thanks, you guys.